quality is all about consistency, getting it right first time, every time. And to do that, you have to have an effective management system. Well, now quality can be certificated. Willesden have become the first depot in the country to be certificated to British Standard 5750. So what does that mean in practice?
It's all about systems that we need to achieve quality, right from clearly understanding what the customer expects of us, through to making sure that we have clear instructions, that we have the right equipment and material, and that the staff are trained properly to carry the job out. It sounds complicated, but in actual fact it's really all about organising the obvious.
But why do you actually need this certificate, this BS 5750?
BS 5750 clearly lays down the systems we need to have under control, and therefore can be assessed by somebody from outside to see whether we achieve those standards. When a depot has achieved a BS 5750 approval, they're really comparable with the best anywhere.
Using the same brushes and the same maintenance period, all of a sudden you get higher brush wear.
BS 5750 provides the basis for good quality management. It lays down quality procedures in key areas. Well, let's see how Willesden addressed those key areas. The first thing to do is to define your terms, who your customer is and what they want. In other words, the specification. Now, in Willesden's case, the customer is the sector engineer.
Well, as intercity engineer, what I expect out of Willesden is a quality product. It's essential that we provide to the sectors locomotives that will haul their trains according to the timetable that is set. It's very important that those trains run reliably and to time, because obviously if they fail to do so, then it antagonises our customers. And for instance, if we think of intercity sector, each minute lost in terms of a failure on the line is worth about 25 to 50 pounds. And that obviously is a significant amount of money over a period of time.
Now, how important are specifications in your contract with Willesden?
Well, the specification comes from two areas. First of all, there is the actual engineering specification, the actual maintenance documents themselves, which clearly spell out what has to be done at maintenance, on maintenance at Willesden, both in terms of the work to be done at each particular examination and how frequently those examinations should be done. There is then the contract that the depot has with the various businesses, the subsectors in fact, and these clearly spell out what's required in terms of availability, reliability, cost for doing the job. And obviously quality is vital in this, because essentially if we don't get it right first time, then costs escalate, and that's to the detriment of our business.
Another key area concerns working instructions. It may seem obvious, but these must be clear and comprehensive. Preparation for certification here at Willesden threw up many areas for improvement. When replacing commutator brushes, for example, the instructions used to say replace at minimum length. But what is the minimum length?
Well, until recently, here at Willesden, there were no written instructions to tell the fitters exactly what the minimum length was. So, not surprisingly, they assumed that that mark there was in fact the minimum length. Well, it's not. It's actually there for a totally different reason. In reality, it should actually be 40 millimetres, which brings it down to there. Now, this meant that under the old system, these brushes were being changed too late, with the result there were burnt-out motors, delayed vehicles, and unhappy customers. Specifications play a very important role in the whole process, but to use them properly, you have to have effective document control. It's not much use if the specification you're using is either out of date or sitting under a pile of paper on somebody else's desk. So here at Willesden, whenever a new modification or specification comes in from the business engineer, it's date stamped, and then all the information is recorded into this computer along with the location of the document. So finding the right document at the right time is made that much simpler.
The quality of components and parts has to be up to standard. Here at Willesden, the stores have been improved as a result of the certification process. There's now a new racking system so that parts are kept in better condition and are also more accessible. It's also important to have stringent control over incoming goods from outside suppliers. Checks have to be made for even the smallest detail.
If you look at this brush here very closely, you'll see that that block
isn't quite flush with the rest of the brush. Therefore, it might well jam in the brush box, which could lead to a burnt-out motor. Now, it's only a small thing, but it could lead to a breakdown and therefore to dissatisfied customers.
Any piece of equipment used for checking or testing must be calibrated properly.
Well, this gauge is used to find out whether the wheels are fit for further service or whether the tyres need turning. If it wears here, here or here, it becomes inaccurate, and either the tyres are turned too soon, which is expensive, or too late, which means the vehicle rides badly. We checked all the gauges at Willesden and we found that several of them were wrong. Now we're only using calibrated gauges, and we are hoping that we will save a lot of money on reducing the amount of tyre turning we have to do.
Records must be used as a basis for corrective action. They should tell when and where faults lie. You can then discover why and take corrective action. Here at Willesden, records showed that the earthing strap on certain electric locos kept shearing off. The simple corrective action was to shorten the strap to prevent it from flapping around at high speed. Even in the best systems, things can go wrong. Materials and equipment become defective. That's why you must control non-conforming product.
Now, here's a question. What's this shock absorber doing here? Well, there are basically three possibilities. It's either for repair, to be scrapped, or it's simply been taken off in order to get at some other part of the locomotive. But which one? Well, until recently, it was actually very hard to find out. But now, here at Willesden, as part of their certification process, they have to label all the parts. So a very simple system. Red means it's to be scrapped, yellow means it's to be repaired, and green means it can be refitted. Now, it's especially useful when, say, for example, one shift takes off the component and another shift is then left to find out what to do with it. Everyone knows exactly what the status of that component is. It's a very simple device, but it's one that can help to avoid expensive mistakes.
Having developed quality systems, they then have to be monitored from time to time to make sure they're working properly.
The internal audit system indicates to the depot management to what degree the quality system is defined by the quality manual and the quality procedures, to what degree that system is being adhered to. It's very useful in respect of it asks questions that you may very well not ask in the day-to-day running of the depot. It may well flag up a particular Ivor meter that hasn't been away for calibration when it should have been, something that could carry on for month after month. If you run the depot purely on a day-to-day basis, it's meant and does very well flag up things that may very often not in the normal course of your events be asked.
Willesden is the first depot to be certificated to BS 5750. So what's the exercise done in terms of improving quality?
It's all about achieving what the customer expects of us. When equipment leaves this depot, it's expected to operate in service all day and every day, and only come back here for maintenance when it's really required. BS 5750 lays down the systems that we need to comply with, but at the end of the day, it really is about people, because people actually get the work done. BS 5750 lays a foundation, but we do intend to go forward into a continuous quality improvement programme. And people are an essential part of that process. That's why we call our initiative Quality Through People.